Walcott, half a chance! What are we going to see? Theo Walcott smashing Arsenal in front of Stamford Bridge!
Giroud, back to Podolski! That is an absolute stunner! It looks as if it was one that genuinely...
I think it's needed at the moment. The ball hits Van Persie. What a goal that was! Sheer quality for Robin Van Persie, bad by Son.
Santi Cazorla! Arsenal 1, Hull 2. A classic free kick. Sanchez. Oh, Sanchez has scored an absolute beauty.
Hello and welcome to the Clock and Talk, an Arsenal podcast. I'm your host, Tiz. You can follow me at Gooner Tiz. You can get the show and direct all your hate to Tony at the Clock and Talk. How are you, brother?
Yeah, all good. I mean, obviously, football-wise could be better, but life's good. I'm breathing. I'm healthy. So let's smile.
And you got a bit of hate this week. That was good to see, mate. I like knowing that you're getting the shit and not me.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because you can tell the people are like really angry, and I couldn't care less. Like, especially when, like, do you know what? If someone says something and there's, a bit of debate, like, oh, I don't agree with what you say. Here's my points, and you go back and forward, and okay, yeah. I might not agree with them, but I can see their point. But when someone's just like spouting mindless drivel, like they're contradicting themselves, I'm like, what? Do you expect me to be annoyed by you? Like, you can't even form a sentence. At what point do you think that's going to anger me?
If you do hear some background noise from my end, it is absolutely bucketing down rain, and I can't control the weather. So tin roof, rain, this is what happens, background noise. So I do apologise for that. Okay, mate, we're going to get into it. Obviously, Chelsea, it was a 2-0 loss. Before I echo my thoughts, I will go straight to you and get your thoughts on the game, the way you saw it. You were at the ground, were you? Because I haven't really spoke to you.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, okay. So as a fan heading to the ground, give us your little rundown of how you spent your day, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, no one overly cares that I went to the pub and then stood in the ground for ages. The atmosphere was quite good actually before the game. Obviously, first time back in the home ground. I think Arsenal said it was something like 500 and something days. So the atmosphere in the concourse was pretty good. Went out to my seat just before kickoff, and still the atmosphere was decent. But no one that's listening gives a shit about that. Like, they want to know about the football, I guess. So to be honest,
just quickly though, just before you do talk about the game, I had an interview with a guy from Sydney who wrote a book, Caviar and Sausages. Tony, it was, and he mentioned the protest there was going to be prior to the game. Did that go ahead?
Not that I saw. I don't think anything happened. Look, protests are all about timing. When you're on a day where everyone is just so happy to be back and they're happy to see their mates, like, because obviously look, I've had the joy of seeing my friends I go to football with because I've been to Brentford last week, but most people haven't. So trying to arrange a protest when people are just happy to see mates again, it is never going to work. You're not going to get people, even if they are Arteta out, Edu out, Kroenke out. They want to spend time with their mates, so they're going to go to the pub or they're going to get into the ground early and grab a few beers in the ground. They're not going to stand outside waving flags. And look, I'm not criticizing anyone that does protest, but all protests about anything in life are all about timing, and that was just, it was never going to work. So I didn't see anything, and I've not heard anything about it since. And I think they were saying that the protest was meant to start at 3. I got to the ground probably about 10 past 3, something like that, and I didn't see a thing.
Okay.
So yeah,
no, that's all right, because he mentioned it, like we're over here in Australia and Sydney, and I heard nothing about it. I've seen nothing about it, and I thought, I wonder if it even went ahead. So yeah.
No, I mean, I'm not sure who set it up, because often there's levels of protest, right? So sometimes you get just a fan on Twitter that has a few thousand followers, but it's like us, right? I think we got 21,000 followers, something like that. And if I
Yep.
said let's start a protest, I think a lot of our followers are abroad. So
Mm.
even though it looks like our reach is big, if I said let's start a protest at the Emirates at 3, in reality we would probably get about 5 people there, and that's being generous. Probably wouldn't even be 5. So sometimes you do get accounts like that who think they're big because of the following they have, but in terms of actually feet on the ground, they don't have any influence. So I don't know about this particular protest, but it always depends on who starts it and who actually. It's like, for example, Arsenal Fan TV are not brilliant at getting protests started because the vast majority of their followers and subscribers and whatnot tend to not be match-going fans. So the stars, in terms of your troops, or not anymore, but DT, all them people, they're match-going fans, but the followers aren't. And obviously, there's no point having a protest with 3 of you because no one will give a shit.
Yep. Okay. Righto. Let's get to the game.
Yeah, so I got the team news early. I sent it in the group early, so I got it about 3:15. I got the full 11s for both teams, and I've been hearing all week that there was we'd been training in a back 5, or we was looking to play a back 5, and the teams come out, and it was sort of like you didn't know if it was going to be a back 5 or a back 4. And personally, I was hoping for a back 5. Sorry. I was saying in the Telegram group all day, I'm hoping for a back 5, and then it wasn't, obviously, when the game kicked off. And I was like, okay, I want a back 5. That doesn't mean that's the right decision, but that's what I would like to see. That's what I would do. And after literally about 4 minutes, it was so obvious they were going to kill us if we didn't change to a back 5. And the whole, I don't want to say the whole ground, but the vast majority of the people around me were all just saying, like, you've got to change this. This is suicide. Change it. Didn't change it. We go 1-0 down. And it's like, okay, we can still get something out of this game, but you've got to change it. And even if you didn't see it before, the goal came from the first goal, both of them, but the first goal came from us being out of shape because we didn't deal with the wing backs, which was happening time and time again. So even at 1-0 down, we're like, change it. And you wouldn't have even needed to make a sub. It's not like, because obviously, look, no one's going to get subbed off after 10 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever it was. But all you do is move KT inside one as a left centre back and put Saka left wing back. So it wasn't like you'd have to take someone off and go through that embarrassment. And everyone's sitting there, change it. This is a disgrace. This is disgusting. Like, we can all see this. It is so clear. Didn't change it. The second goal came exactly the same thing. And we're just going, how can you be this blind to what's going on? Again, they just continued ripping through us through the same way. At half time, we was all sitting there like, this could be anything. And I said to my mate, I think it'll be 3-0 because I think they'll get one more and then they'll stop just because they don't need to carry on. And obviously that third goal didn't come, but I can't believe we didn't change it. I mean, the second half, I know it was 0-0 on paper and we were probably slightly better than we was in the first half, but not changing it's just it's ridiculous. Like, against a team where their wing backs are so high and wide, even if you don't want to change the shape for whatever reason, you've got to change something to get their wing backs back. Like, whether you tell Saka and Pepe to just cheat and stay as high and wide as possible and dare Reece James and Alonso, okay, if you want to stay high and wide, we're going to do the same thing. And now let's see what happens. Let's make it chaos and see who crumbles. But you've got to do something. We just was like, my mate just kept saying he set us up to lose. And he was happy with just like, we've tried hard. We've been quite nice on the ball, not too bad. But in reality, we never could have won. And I know Arteta's come out and said it was unprecedented level of injuries, which isn't true. But I mean, look, I think we have 9 players out. How many of them would have played anyway is debatable, but maybe 4, which is, it's not far from half a team, so an outfield team. So you can say that there is big losses there, but I personally believe we could have had our 11 best players all fit, and with the style we played against that back 5, we'd have lost that game. To be honest, I think any team, if they're as stupid as we were tactically, like, they would lose to that Chelsea team. Like, Liverpool have got them next week, and Liverpool won't change to a back 5. But Salah and Mane are going to cheat. I can tell you that now, and the game's a week away. And we just didn't. We just let them boss us, really. It was literally like saying to Chelsea, "What do you want to do?" And we'll try and react. It was ridiculous. It was so painful to watch. And do you know it's one of them really annoying defeats because I don't think many players actually played bad. So you can't go, "Oh, he was shit. He was shit." I thought most.
I was actually. I'm glad you brought that up.
Right.
Actually, yeah, mate, and I'm glad you brought that up because I've seen on Twitter, you know, and you look after the game, and I try not look before, you know, like straight after because it's raw emotion. But I look like today, this morning, I had a look. People are still singling players out, and people are like, "No, it's not really the players." Like, and I'm starting, which is great. I think people are actually starting to see it because there was one guy, you know, he tweeted, "Granite actually didn't have a bad game, guys. Like, it was more the way the tactics were and the way we were set up." So I'm actually glad to see that. This whole look. You know, we laugh at Ollie at Man United when he took over because it just seems like, and we spoke about it in his first season, it was almost like he was rubbing the guys on the back of the shoulder and, "Come on, guys, let's go, get in, get the win done." I'm getting that from Arteta. I'm not seeing much on the field, but every press conference I see him doing, and I keep seeing this, "Yeah, we're an energetic young team, we're good," like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you get that feeling, or impression, but fuck, I certainly do. I don't. And then when I see the game, I think, Jesus Christ.
I kind of think the opposite. I think we're overcoached in that there's sort of no real freedom. It's like you do this, you do this, you do this, and everyone just has a job that they kind of half stick to, and that's it. I don't think it is just motivation to go and be good. I think it's more. I think it's too rigid, if anything.
Yeah, okay.
And look, I mean, there's an argument we was like that under Wenger, to be fair, because everyone used to say under Wenger, we don't have tactics. We just go and play, and if we're better than them, we win, and if we're not, we lose. Basically, that was, especially towards the end of Wenger, that was how we were viewed. And I'm not comparing the two, not by a long shot, but I think, I mean, Wenger wasn't too rigid at all. He was free flowing, but the argument was he didn't really do tactics, and I don't believe that, but that's what people were saying at the time. And,
Yeah. But anyway, look, I don't want to get bogged down in the Wenger because it's done and dusted, but I hear where you're coming from. One thing I did notice, and look, can I blame Arteta here? Martinelli had a you'd say a poor game, but then was he getting the ball? You know, was he Granite wasn't giving him the ball? And I thought Sambi, he played a really great game.
Kid's unbelievable.
He's really good, isn't he? Like, fuck me.
They were saying that there was what, I don't know if it was offside. There was one ball he played to Aubameyang that he overhit massively, and it was a pretty easy ball. And Aubameyang would have been 1-on-1 if Sambi didn't overhit it. And I think it was about 20 minutes to go. Obviously, the ball ran through to Mendy quite comfortably. But look, when you're picking out one ball from a 90-minute game for a kid who's making his home debut, obviously only second competitive start, there's a lot to work. I'm still not showing him defensively, and that's not me saying he's bad. It's saying I've not seen enough of it. I don't know if he's good defensively.
Yeah.
Which is definitely going to have to be part of the game, because when you're playing in a midfield too, whoever you are, you kind of have to be able to do more than one thing. And that was largely the problem with Guendouzi, was that he kind of kept the ball quite nice, but he didn't affect the game at either end, and he defensively was pretty poor. So Sambi looks fantastic on the ball, like smart. His choice of passes, weight of pass in general is very good. But it'd be interesting to see more of him.
Look, and I'm trying to. I don't want to be too negative, you know. Like, I went into this game against a Chelsea team who have spent a lot of money, against a Chelsea manager who I rate very well. I think it was crazy that PSG got rid of him, but it is what it is. So I rate Chelsea. I think they are definitely the team to beat this season, and Lukaku has just made them stronger again, and he's in beast mode, Lukaku. We said it during the Euros. So I kind of went into this game thinking, and I think I did a prediction with old mate Tony from Caviar and Sausages about the. I think I said a 2-0, or maybe we might snatch one, a 2-1. I'm okay if it's. And I know you guys go to the ground. Like, I'm sitting here in my lounge room. It's a bit fucking different. But for me, I'm like, I didn't think we were going to win. I thought at best a draw, like a 1-1 draw. I did see lots of improvement in this team, though, Tony. I know a lot of people were seeing lots of negativity in it. But, there's Smith Rowe. He could have, 1 or 2 chances, and it could have turned the game around. I did see chances. I did see scoring opportunities, and there was another one. Was it Saka who almost got away, and it was a beautiful ball, but just over a little bit too heavy, and Andy come way out and cleared it. But it was, it was one of them games where I felt we could have possibly got a goal and maybe just snuck a draw. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been massively underserved if, as I said, if Sambi's ball hadn't been overhit to Aubameyang, or if Holding had scored that header, which was a massive chance. Then you never know, it becomes 2-1, they shit themselves, but it would have been massively undeserved. I see where you're coming from about, like, not being fussed about the loss, but kind of half expecting it. I get that. What annoyed me and most of the people around me, and I've moved to a new season ticket now, so it's not like the same old people, but the opinions don't really change too much. Was like the way we lost. As I said, it was just tactically, it was so fucking obvious. Like, and there wasn't, like, as I said, much hatred on the players, really, any of them. It was more like, what are we doing? And as I said, we could have had our 11, whoever you rate as our 11 best players out, and pretty much the same thing would have happened. It's, if you go and lose to a team that are just better than you, and I don't think there's many argued Chelsea are better than us, then you can kind of say, you know what, hold our hands up, we got done by the better team. When you get done tactically and it's so obvious, I think it kind of hurts more, because you're like, we could have stopped that. Like, as I said, if they just went and battered us, or, do you know what I mean, they played us off the park, you'd kind of go, you know what, they're just better than us. But that wasn't what it was. They are better than us, and I'm not saying they're not, but that wasn't what it was yesterday. And yeah, it's just frustrating. And just to touch on you, just talking about Lukaku, I've been saying to anyone that will listen to me, I think he'll win the Golden Boot. Obviously, we're not doing our predictions for a couple of weeks, but I said before they signed him, I think it's a great signing for them. And he looked, I mean, I don't know, it's one of them. I'm not even sure if he looked really good. I know he got given man of the match, and he obviously was good. I'm not saying he wasn't, but
yeah,
I didn't think he really got a sniff out of Holding, who I thought had a really good game. But he absolutely bullied Mari. It was ridiculous. Like, it was actually insane. But yeah, I thought Holding held himself well against him, won quite a lot of aerial and physical battles with him, which surprised me, because, I mean, I've seen Lukaku live before a few times, well, probably loads of times, but just sitting there the other day, obviously not being at a stadium for a while, he walked on the pitch. I went to my mate, he's fucking massive. Like, you kind of forget how big these people are. He's not just big for a footballer. He's a big, big man. But also, I thought Mari tactically played him terribly. Like, don't try and get too tight and fight him. You can't win. It's literally impossible. I don't think there's a defender on earth that can get that tight to Lukaku and get away with it. And maybe get away with it once, but not every time. It was criminal the way he was trying to defend against him. We know his touch is a bit ropey, and I know it's improved, but it's still not. We'll still wouldn't say it's good. So if he's got his back to goal, no matter where he is, you've just got to let him have it and let him play backwards rather than trying to fight him. And he was spinning him every single time. It was really, really poor game from Mari as a whole, but the method of trying to defend against him was insane. And this Chelsea team are really annoying, because they're, with the addition of Lukaku, because they're really good at keeping the ball, just popping it about the back with their extra defender, because they got the back five. And then obviously Kovacic and Jorginho always come deep, and to an extent Mount drops in as well. So they've got so many players there. They keep the ball really well. And if you stop them doing that, you just pump it up to Lukaku, who holds it anyway. Like, they are so much harder to play with Lukaku than Werner, where that option was try and run in behind, and then the ball had to be really precise. He had to be onside, which he wasn't most of the time. And then even if he was and got to the ball, he had to finish, which he couldn't most of the time. Like, they are a million times harder to play with Lukaku there than they were with Werner.
I was going to get talking about some goals, but the man has popped in, Addy, and I'm like, wow, I haven't seen this bloke in months. I don't think I don't get in the chat as much as you do, but I haven't seen you, Addy, for a bloody long time, brother. How are you?
I'm doing well. Can you not hear me, Kelly? Yeah, clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can hear me. Sorry. But yeah, nah. I'm sorry. I've been gone for quite a bit. Football season has begun, but I've missed you guys. I've missed the Arsenal, but yeah. What more can I say?
Mate, instead of I don't know if you've caught the last couple of episodes, but instead of breaking the game down like we usually do, I go to your thoughts straight away now. So, mate, give us your thoughts. Lay it on the table, buddy.
Obviously, my thoughts, and quite a lot of people will know my thoughts. I do think we have a team that's weaker than last year. Even though we spent 139 million. Again, I also think that we're not we haven't improved as a team. And that's taken based off of what we were trying to do in pre-season and in the first 2 games. Again, I do feel our manager's out of depth, and I don't feel that even if we have all 9 players that are missing, anything will change, because it's still the same tactics that we're trying to employ. Get it to Tierney on the overlap, cross it in. We don't seem to try and find other attacking avenues to try and score a goal. And I think, as I put in the group the other day, like Einstein's definition of insanity, trying to do the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And for me, it's just, we're just biding our time until Arteta gets the sack and we actually grow a pair of balls and hire a proper manager that will actually take this club forward. But yeah, no, that's it. Like, obviously Chelsea, for me, Chelsea were the better team, are a better team. Have a manager that understands his players, had more first team players available. For me, it wasn't even the result because obviously I did think we were going to lose, but it wasn't the result that was really the main thing for me. It was the performance that I wanted to see, like the passion, the fight, the tactics, like how Arteta will try and nullify Chelsea and the team. And for me, it would just I judged Arteta more off of this game as opposed to the players off of this game, because we can't say the players are the greatest. But then for example, if West Ham was going up against Chelsea, like, at least Moyes will try and say, okay, how do I stop the ball getting into Lukaku or something? Like, for me, he left Murray out to dry. And Tierney may not have had his greatest defensive display, but Tierney, for me, got scapegoated because them not always had an overload on the wings, and they attacked more through Reece James, and Tierney got scapegoated. Cool, Saka could have helped him out, but like, if we knew we should have changed the shape. Like, we beat Chelsea away, cool, different Chelsea team. Well, to be fair, no, it wasn't a different Chelsea team because they have only signed Lukaku. Like, we knew something that worked against Chelsea, and I don't know why he kept with a 4 at the back. But yeah, that's it. I feel that we're going backwards instead of moving forwards.
Did we play 5 at Stamford Bridge? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was Mari, Holding, and Tierney as a left wing back, and no, Tierney actually played as a left wing back, and it was I put it in another chat. It was Louise, Mari, and Holding.
Yeah, I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Murray and Holding.
Tony
Oh,
basically
Gabriel
mentioned similar to what you were Addy. With this, didn't change the shape, did nothing right tactically, and I agree. I echo all them thoughts. So we'll get to the goals now. The first goal, nice little sit up with Lukaku. Taps it back, and this is what annoyed me like a little bit with us, because even the second goal, right? The defenders were so worried about Lukaku, they kept coming in too tight instead. And I know it's hard when you're at a 4 at a back, but this is why Arteta should have seen this after the first goal and at least change something. But he didn't.
It wasn't Lukaku that killed us. It was Mount, and I know a lot of people don't
It was Mount.
Mount.
Yeah.
He never gets credit, but he killed us wandering everywhere, and that's why KT kept tucking in. Or on the other side, he done the same both sides, but obviously because their goals came from that side, that's kind of where people look. But it was Mount that actually killed us, not Lukaku had a very good game, and as I said, he had Murray on absolute toast. But it was Mount that killed us, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. But for me, it was that first goal. He come across, and whether he was looking at Mount as well, I don't know. But Lukaku, and this is, mate, he just bullied his way through. Little tap back, lovely little back run, and then it, he got the tap in from Mount. He got the assist, didn't he?
No, Reece James.
Reece James, yeah.
No, Reece James.
Yeah, Reece James got goal and assist. Addy, keeper question.
Yeah.
And I'm not blaming him because I actually didn't think he had a bad game, even though I think he's a useless cunt. Should Leno be outside his front post there? Like he was, I don't think he should. But I mean, look, as I said, I'm just asking, is that where he should be?
What Leno tried to anticipate it. Like that's what he was trying to do.
Surely you've got less chance if you're outside of your front post.
Yeah.
I'm not like I know this is going to come across as me blaming him because everyone knows I hate him. I'm not. I'm just wondering if that's what he was trying to do. Surely you shouldn't be outside the front post.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying. It's a hard one. It's a hard one, and I think it's because of how the play went and his whole positioning. But I understood what he was trying to do. Obviously, execution didn't go too well. But
and look, he could have been positioned perfectly and still probably not got it. So it's not anywhere near a mistake. It was only when, obviously, I didn't notice it in the ground at all. It was only when like people showed still pictures and he was sort of a yard outside his front post, and I was kind of thinking, what use are you to do anything from there? Because obviously if a shot goes near post, then it's already going wide from where you're standing anyway, if it goes to the left of you. And then obviously there's much more of a gap to the right of you, which is where the cross is going to go.
Yeah, no, it's a hard one, to be fair.
No, Tony just wants Ramsdale on straight away.
I don't
you
want
wanted him to
Ramsdale.
sub Leno. You wanted him to sub Leno, didn't you, Tony?
I don't rate Ramsdale, but this Leno can't play for us anymore. He's unsuited to us in so many ways. I mean, as I said, he played well. I mean, his distribution was still a bit shaky, but he played well yesterday. I mean, he made an absolute worldie. Well, to be fair, it was down the other end. I thought it was an absolute worldie.
Yeah, that was
a
good save. Yeah.
Well, I messaged my mate after the game saying, was Leno's save as good as I thought it was? And he was like, yeah, it was all right. I was like, okay.
No.
I said I thought it was unbelievable.
Me as a GK, that is what you do all your practices and training for, because it was so close, you just needed to get something on it to just try and divert it somewhere. And like that's Leno's bread and butter. Them reflex saves, similar to Tottenham away, where
I was going to say that's up there with that save for me. That's like, I said that straight away. Me and my mate straight away was like, that's up there with that save. But then obviously that Tottenham save got loads of people were going mad about it and rating it, saying save of the season, blah blah blah. This one, I've not really seen anyone like talk about it. And as I said, I messaged my mate, and he didn't say it was all right. He was like, yeah, it was good, but I'm coming from like wow, and he was coming like, it was good, but
Yeah, no, me, I was wow, but then for me as well with Leno, I expect not that I expect him to save it, but if he's gonna do a save, that's the save. But then it's all the other ones where you're thinking, you should be saving it, but you're doing madness. You're making errors. But I don't know if you touched on it before, but one of the things that frustrated me was how Chelsea were able to get from back to front in four or five passes.
We didn't touch on it, but they basically they pump 8 men in. Like I was saying, I don't know if you might have caught the end of it. This Chelsea team's really difficult to play because they take 8 men deep. They go to back 5 with obviously Alonso and whoever the wing backs are high and wide. The 3 centre backs are all happy with the ball. Mendy's happy with the ball. Jorginho and Kovacic come deep, and then sometimes Mount drops in if necessary. And even if you do manage to stop that somehow, they were just going long to Lukaku, and because of the gaps, because they had 8 so deep, it wasn't like it was a ball for Lukaku to chase. They could drop it into his feet quite comfortably.
Drop his feet, yeah.
And then he was holding it up, and then they broke from there. I was just saying, I don't know if you caught it, that this Chelsea team are a different. Forget the amount of goals he's going to score. They're a different beast with him compared to Werner, where Werner they had to play long, and then he's chasing it, but obviously the ball has to be pretty perfect. Whereas with Lukaku, it wasn't like you were just smashing it into space. There was like a big margin for error, and he could hold it. They're a really difficult team to play, and again, you didn't hear me say it, but I was the same as you. My annoyance isn't at losing to that Chelsea team because they're a good team. It was Arteta got it all wrong, and we never had a chance from the kickoff essentially.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It's definitely a great Chelsea team. Definitely.
There is a couple of little pop-up questions. Well, it's not really questions, just a couple of thoughts. And Sugar Daddy, he says, why don't we feed Pepe the ball more? Good point. I think who at the midfield fucks it up, to be honest. I like Smith Rowe, Tony, but I think the team that we are playing at the moment and the shape we're playing, I feel as though either Smith Rowe's got to pop back a little bit or we run 3 in the mids or so. I don't know what happens when Partey comes back. Like, how do you
No, we're going to stick with 2. We're going to stick with 2. I mean, look, personally, I think Pepe's better wide. I mean, not Pepe. I think ESR's better on the left at the moment. Anyway, I think he will be a 10 in time, but I think at the moment he's better on the left. But, I mean, you don't sign Odegaard and then go over flat 3. We are going to stay 4-2-3-1, and that's what it's going to be.
Yeah, Smith Rowe on the left, Odegaard up. Yeah.
In terms of why didn't we feed Pepe the ball more? Because he should have not. It's not his fault. He should have been cheating. But where he was like half and half defending, and the same as Saka, so you assume it's instruction and not laziness. He was getting the ball, and he was like there was 3 or 4 players around him, even if he was getting the ball 30, 40 yards out. So there's nothing you can really do. He had one really good run in the first half where it's one of them that you'll never get any credit for because we ended up just getting a throw on, I think. But he travelled sort of 70 yards. And there was another one. There was another one where, that one. So just before that, he beat Alonso all ends up and got fouled, and Alonso should have been booked. And then on that second run where he travelled 70 yards, Alonso also fouled him, but he stayed up. And then, as I said, travelled down the pitch, and I think we got thrown. He should have gone down because I think it was still 0-0 at that time. And it would have put Alonso on a booking. And then if Pepe starts cheating, Alonso thinks, shit, if I go too high and I can't get back, I can't even foul him, like a tactical foul. But, I mean, look, I'm not blaming Pepe for not going down. But, as I said, I think the wingers should have cheated anyway, but they didn't. So, not feeding him, it wasn't really an option. It's the same way that Saka didn't really get on the ball. Like, just the positioning was just all wrong.
Do you think he gets too wide at times?
Not really.
No.
Yeah.
I actually think he's been playing a lot narrower. It was obvious in pre-season he was, and Smith Rowe was covering him. And even against Brentford, he was to an extent as well. I think he's been playing a lot narrower, which is probably where you get the best out of him.
Yeah, that's what I think. But you get better out of him a bit narrower.
The thing is, it doesn't really work with Smith Rowe because Smith Rowe is not. You lose a lot of what Smith Rowe has if he's on the right. Whereas with Odegaard, it can slightly work because Odegaard's never going to run past anyone anyway. And on that side, at least he can sort of open his body and find the back post, as we saw for, I think it was Gabby's goal against Palace. Like when he drifts out there, it doesn't take anything away from him. Whereas when Smith Rowe drifts out there, you lose so much. I mean, look, he might occasionally beat a man and make a chance, but you lose a lot of what's good about Smith Rowe when he finds himself outside Pepe.
Okay, do you want to go through that? We obviously touched on the first goal. Do you want to go through the second goal, Tony?
Repeat the first goal, but the guy shot instead of crossed it.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
It was actually poor down the left as well. The attack should have been broke up down the left as well. I watched Match of the Day today, and I didn't realise how easy they got down the left. Even though it was right in front of me, it was literally where I was sitting, but I didn't realise at the time. Or you forget, do you know what happens when you go to games? You remember stuff, but you don't remember what it leads to. So I remember that attack down the left happening and thinking at the time that's really shit defending. But I didn't connect it to, the goal came directly from that.
Okay, from that. Yeah.
It happens all the time where you remember stuff happening, but not like the consequences of it. And yeah, it was poor down the left. And again, KT got dragged in. I actually think KT came too narrow that time as well.
So you know what, with that, as you touched on, it was Mason Mount's positioning that caused KT to come in too narrow, because Mason Mount, I don't know if you saw it on Match of the Day. He actually started to advance off just behind Lukaku, and then once Mari tried to get across to Lukaku, like Mount, if KT had to make a decision, do I cover that space and let him go wide, or do I stay wide and let Mount have, basically it would have drove in and shot. So again, and to be fair, if Saka, I think Saka, did he watch him go past, or
he was asleep all game? We love the guy, but he was asleep all game.
Yeah. It just let like Mount go. Whereas really and truly, if he dropped back, then it would have been an easy decision for KT. But
I still think, as I said, Mount ran the game just for he's one of them. He ran the game without really touching the ball, but I still think KT slightly overcovered. But would that yard have made a difference? Maybe, probably not. It's again, when you look at the grand scheme of things, there's a million mistakes in that goal, and that's a minor one of the million. I think he's slightly overcovered, but it may have not made it, because it may not have made a blind bit of difference. And in all fairness to Reece James, he was quite clever, because it wasn't even overlap. He wasn't overlapping anyone, but that gap was on every time. And he started, as he realised it was on every time, he started coming narrower and narrower. So obviously the first goal, he couldn't have really shot, or if he scores from there, you're blaming someone, or it's a worldie. So, and then he's edged 2 or 3 yards in field. So now he's in a proper shooting position. But it shows it wasn't, do you know what I mean? If you get beat on the overlap on the touchline and it's 2v1 or whatever, you can kind of go, it happens. Like, we see it in football a million times. But Reece James was in line with a 6-yard box, give or take, maybe a couple of yards outside it. So it wasn't when you say we're narrow, it wasn't with the width of the area. We were not even the width of the 6-yard box.
I thought it was like KT was in line with a penalty spot.
Yeah. As I said, and then that's the thing, because he nearly got back. That's where I think that's why I'm saying he overcovered a yard, because I think he could have got there. But as I said, it's so minor. If you're blaming, it was I saw people blaming Cedric for the first goal, because he kept from the onside. And he was deeper than everyone else. Yeah,
I'm pinning Tierney on the second goal for me, and almost the first goal too. And I just want to shout out, no one's mentioned Saka. Okay, the kid has been good, and I know he was playing up on the left, but he was there was just nothing from him. He just wasn't putting in that last ditch effort. He was. I don't know what. I don't want to single him out, but there was no effort there.
He's not fair.
No, he's not fair. I thought he was half decent on the ball. Defensively, he was a joke, which is so unlike him. And as I said,
that's what I mean. Defensively,
he's just not. He's not fit. Look, I'm not trying to defend Arteta, because you can't defend.
I was going to say we can't keep making.
When he says when we said he's got unprecedented injuries, obviously he got 9 players out, and as I said, that I find that dubious, because 6 of them wouldn't get anywhere near the team anyway, probably. But then also you wonder about Gabby. I don't think Gabby's fit. I don't think Saka's fit. So then you go, we've got 9 injuries. And look, I'm not making excuses because Arteta got it all wrong. It's all on him. Whether the players were fit or not, we would have lost that game. But I think when he says things like unprecedented injuries, which isn't true, but I think when he's saying it, there's more than just the players we have out.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. But, yeah, look, I'm not going to continue to use that as an excuse, though. Like, you know, this is.
If we got it tactically spot on and lost, then it might be an excuse. But it's not.
Yes,
You've got everything completely wrong.
Yeah, I definitely got it wrong, but he's got this. That's absolutely pissing down there. He's got our whole fucking start of our season wrong. Like, here we are 2 games in, and we're talking about players' fitness. Like, what the fuck? Like, why aren't they ready? Why aren't they fit? Like, this is a professional football team.
No, you're wrong there. I know you don't like him, but let's not be stupid. Why hasn't Jadon Sancho started for Man United? Is it Man United's fault? Why is Harry Kane
No, fair enough. Don't call me being stupid.
I'll say England players they came back really late. Yeah, so
yeah, they did.
Saka came back later than everyone else as well. Harry Kane.
How come you've come back late again? I can't remember.
Because we played in a competition.
Jay, he's a Spurs fan and unfortunately a mate of mine. Good game, fellas. Looking forward to City next week. That is him being an absolute fucking smart ass. 3, 2, 1, Tony?
Yeah, so I can't remember what way I went last week, but it's the same top 2, but I can't remember what order I went in last week. But Sambi 3, Smith Rowe 2. Again, I've seen a bit of criticism online, and I think it's just because people don't like him and don't rate him. But I thought Holding had a pretty good game. He should have scored the header, obviously, but he won most of his physical battles regardless of who there went, and none of the goals you could pin on him really. I think he was wrong side for when we was talking about the Leno save. I think it was him that was wrong side, but I thought he had a pretty solid game. Look, you don't expect him to be good on the ball, so I know some cunt's going to say, he had a bad touch or he misplaced the ball by 30 yards, but that's players' limits when you start them. But I thought he had a pretty solid game, to be fair.
Addy, who are you running with, buddy?
This is a hard one. I'll say Lukango, Sambi.
Sandy.
I'll give him a 3.
Sandy.
Yeah, I'll give him a 3. 2, I'll probably give it to Pepe, potentially, yeah. And then 1, Eleno. To be fair.
Yeah, for the 1 save. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
For the 1 save that he made.
No. To be fair, he had a good save from Havertz.
He did.
Havertz. Yeah.
Yeah. He did.
Yeah.
Look, it wasn't his fault. He them 2 goals were not his fault. I know Tony was almost trying to make a bit of an excuse.
I said they were. I was just asking if that's where he should be. As I said, even if he got it spot on, I don't think we'd have done anything.
Yeah.
Okay, 3. Oh shit, that Pablo. No. Sambi definitely 3. 2, Smith Rowe. I almost feel sorry for Smith Rowe because he seems like him and Sambi are the shining light in this team that's shit, if that makes sense. Like, I almost want him to get that a goal or an assist or something because he really deserves it. I really feel sorry for Smith Rowe at the moment because but more so he's playing around a heap of shit. We're really struggling for an Aubameyang and a Lacazette. I feel for Martinelli.
I just say before we move on, and I forget, I know you're doing your 3-2-1s. Aubameyang looked super sharp when he came on. It's the most I've seen him look interested in a fucking long time.
Yeah, no, he did. Good shout. 1, 2. Fuck.
Yeah,
I think I've got to go. I think I've got to go Pepe because he did nothing right, nothing wrong, but was there doing what he does. I can't say any defenders. Like, did you say Rob Holding, Tony, for your one?
Yeah, Tony
Yeah.
said Rob Holding.
I thought he had a good game.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'll go
It's
Pepe.
one of them, do you know, as I said, like, do you know, it's one of
Yeah.
them in the ground, like, you can't, even though I don't like stats, I felt like he won the vast majority of his battles, both aerially and like sort of them challenges or he just stood up to Lukaku a lot better, and Lukaku didn't really go near him. So I'd kind of half like to see the stats on it as much as I don't really care for stats, because it just felt like anything down his side we was kind of covered for.
Yeah. The only thing that I don't know if this is a negative either, or you want this from your defender. He got the yellow card, and I thought it was a little bit of a stupid challenge. Like,
What did he
I
get booked
can't
for?
remember who it was on. He got booked. It was late in the game. He's done a slide tackle or something on. I can't remember who it was now. Yeah, he got a yellow late in the game. Who was that on? Fuck. But yeah, at the time, I'm thinking to myself, "Oh, you fucking idiot," because I almost thought it was nearly a red.
I mean, I couldn't care less if players
Yeah.
get booked, especially late on. Like,
That was the only one. It
has
wasn't a
no
biggie,
impact
but
on the game.
it was
Like, I
more.
don't
I
even
thought
remember
it was
it.
a red. Yeah, okay.
If something happens on the football pitch and I don't remember it, I'm not going to let it impact how I rate players.
One other thing that has been the talk of the town, and I'm struggling to wonder why it's the talk, is was it a penalty for you guys?
Yeah, for me.
Do you know what?
Was it you?
I didn't think it was in the ground, but it was down the other end. And
100%.
I have seen it again, and I'm still like, it's a bit 50-50 for me. I think it's one of them. If you get it, it doesn't get overturned, but vice versa. Like, obviously we didn't get it and it doesn't get overturned. I don't think it's as clear as most people are saying. Like, and I saw loads of people going, "Oh, that gets given for any other teams," but was it Wolsey in the Wolsey Tottenham game? I think, who was it? I can't remember if it was a Wolves player or a Tottenham player, but basically, it was Nelson Semedo, and basically the same thing happened. It didn't get given, so I think that's just one of them. You will get them sometimes, and there will be at some point, probably next week, a team will get a penalty when that sort of thing happens, and our fans will go, the FA are against us, blah blah blah. But I think it's just one of them that it depends on the ref on the day, and they've been told to be more lenient this year, and they're not really giving anything, which is kind of annoying because there's some fouls that are just a joke. And Klopp's gone mad moaning about it. Someone else, another top manager, I can't remember who it was, basically went mental moaning about it.
Ole Gunnar
Solskjaer.
Solskjaer.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
another one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, and it is annoying at the game because I understand they're trying to let it go, and you kind of can't argue with that. But there's some fouls that you're just like, it's ridiculous. Like, it's just so obviously a foul that if that's not a foul, we might as well just let them fight. Like, but yeah, for the penalty, I'm really 50-50 on it. As I said, I'm not outraged it wasn't given.
I'll be honest. When
Yeah.
I watched it, I thought to myself straight away. I just went, "Really?" And then I looked back at it, and when they slow mo it down, it's like, oh, his foot. Did he trip? He tripped the other guy over as well at the same time. Talking for those who haven't seen it, I was talking about Saka. I'm kind of with you, Tony, 50-50. If we got given the penalty, I'm thinking soft penalty. But I wasn't screaming at the TV going, "Oh, fuck, penalty," like Twitter seemed
Yeah,
to
I mean,
blow up at
I'm
that
kind
time.
of the opposite in that I didn't think it was a penalty, but I was going mad screaming for it as you do in the ground. Like,
Yeah, you would. Yeah.
like I do it all the time. I'm like, penalty, ref, you're a cunt, blah, 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 blah. But then I'll go to my mate, it wasn't. Like, always under my breath. I go, yeah, it wasn't. But you do that with
Oh, we
throw-ons
seen
as
you
well.
last week. We seen you having lots of mumbles last week.
Yeah, one or two. But you do that with everything. Like when you're at games, like the ball go out for
Yeah.
a throw on this is semi-contentious thing. Oh, ball ref, you don't know what you're doing, and then you go, it was definitely theirs. It's like, but you kind of feel like if everyone shouts enough, then you've got half a chance. Well, it's proven. Like if you look at, I think the Premier League home win percentage last season was something like 30%. And I know in the first weekend of fixtures, 2 home teams won out of the whole league. And I think this first fixture with fans back was like 7 home teams. So it's proven that the fan pressure does play a part. So you've got to shout for them stupid thing, or not even stupid, the all things. Shout for everything. Like, don't matter if you think it wasn't your ball or it wasn't a penalty or whatever. Just fucking shout.
A couple of questions have been popping up through the chat. You can drop a question now if you want, guys. Tash, is that Tash that we know? Ski one?
I assume so, yeah.
Yeah. Arteta tactically proactive, reactive, or neither, Tony?
In this game, definitely neither. He done nothing. In other games, I don't know. I feel like we have seen him change at times between a back 5 and a back 4. But and there've been proactive changes a lot of the time. I mean, this game could only be reactive because he got it wrong from the start, so you can only react, but he didn't, which is where he went wrong. I don't think reactive is a bad thing sometimes, and a lot of people do. As a whole, I don't know what I would say if he's one of them, but definitely on this game, it was definitely neither.
Brian says, "Hey Brian, how are you, buddy? From any of our present crop of managers, either working or not, who do you think is the most realistic and best for the Gunners?" Go to you first, Addy, because you probably got a bit to say on
it. In terms of getting a manager in, we go for Antonio Conte. All out for him. Brendan Rodgers on my list.
He's always been on your list, isn't he?
Yeah, he actually has. Ten Hag on my list. Who also had Zidane's on my list. I got one more on my list. I actually did a list of 5. Conte was definitely number 1. Conte.
What about Moyes after?
Oh, sorry, no. Arsene Wenger. Arsene Wenger was on my list.
Wow.
Wow.
Yep. That's how desperate I am.
Yeah, but I mean, if Wenger's on your list, it feels like one of them lists that could be 99 men or women.
Only a list of 5. That's all I have.
There's another one. Out of context, ITK.
Oh, well, I don't get to answer now. Cheers.
Plonkers. Okay, thanks, mate.
Do you know, on the manager, I am convinced that they're going to give Arteta like 3 years, unless we are fucking disastrous by I mean, I know what journalist was it that said the October international break? I was thinking more the November one. If we're in like a disastrous position, then they might change. But I look at the transfer window and the new contract. Everyone is 23 and under. That you don't essentially buy an under 23 team and then bin the manager off 5 or 6 games later, unless, as I said, things get drastic. So I'm convinced as long as he doesn't royally fuck up, I'm convinced he's here for the long run. And I'm not particularly saying that's the best thing to do. It's just what I think will happen. I mean, this team, and look, we're going to go through a lot of frustration. And I was talking to someone about it in the pub before the game on Sunday. This team isn't for now. This team is for 2 or 3 years' time. The challenge you're going to have is keeping them together. And as I said, the guy in the pub said to me, and he's an older guy, said, yeah, but that's bollocks for the people that are paying for the tickets now and for the next 2 or 3 years, and the fans that are not only supporting us, buying the merchandise, blah, 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 following the club with all their heart. That's bullshit. And I'm like, look, I'm not saying I agree with it, but I think it's fucking clear. Because as Addy says, is our team any better right now? Debatable. Like, you could argue yes marginally, you could argue no, or you can argue it's the exact same. But all 5 signings are under 23, or 23 and under. KT new contract, Balogun new contract, Smith Rowe new contract, all 23 and under. And there's someone I'm missing because I went through them yesterday. Or Saka, if you kind of count him. I know it was a year ago now, but again,
a year ago, Saka.
And you look at the players they're getting rid of, or trying to, the likes of the Hectors and the Williams and blah blah blah. The only one that kind of goes against that mold is Willock, but he's the only player we could really get any money for. So as I said, I'm convinced this team's for 2 or 3 years' time, and as I said, I don't think you give a manager that power, responsibility, whatever word you want to use, and then go, oh, the results have been really bad in the short term. But I mean, what will be interesting? I mean, the Brentford game, we were shit. Yesterday, the players weren't bad, and we said that earlier. I don't think, I said it after the first game, I don't think we'll score until the Norwich game, not including West Brom, but I'm really intrigued for the Norwich and Burnley games, which we got them back to back, Norwich home, Burnley away, because we can't see the same level of bullshit against them. Well, we hopefully can't.
But what do you think about West if we lose to West Brom? Or is it
West Brom? West Brom don't make a blind bit of difference. Like, I'm going, but it literally is because we've still got that arrogance of the Champions League club. So it's the second round of a Carabao Cup. What will happen is if we win, absolutely no one cares, and if we lose, people will pretend they give a shit. But we've not won it in my lifetime. Well, not in my lifetime. In my time supporting, which started in '95, give or take, we've not won it. I think we've been to 3 finals. I went to the City, we lost 3-0. Birmingham, we lost 2-1, and Chelsea, we lost 2-1. But that's even Wenger's years, we didn't care about it. So since '95, what's that? I forget how old. 26 years, we've been to the final 3 times, never won it. Like, I'm not going to pretend it's something we really care about. So if we lose to West Brom, to be honest, I think they'll play a reserve team anyway, because I think they're playing on the Friday. But if we lose to them, I'm not going to pretend. Well, so basically, one team was going to get fucked because we were playing Sunday and they were playing Friday. And I think they agreed. Well, no, that's not true. Sky Sports said, "Fuck you, we're putting it on Wednesday," basically, because they were going to fuck someone somewhere. So I think West Brom might sack it off, but that's just my thoughts. But yeah, the game doesn't overly matter to me in terms of what happens to Arteta. Of course, I want us to win. Arsenal could be playing tiddlywinks, and I want them to win. But in terms of if we lose, does Arteta go? Absolutely not.
I think everybody I'm for one, right? I'm one who's thinking this year. I'm happy if we finish 6th, 7th, or 8th. To be honest, I'm not. I want to progress a little bit. I want to see a little bit. I shouldn't say happy, but it is what it is. Like, when you're in a rebuilding stage as a team, you're rebuilding. Like, we aren't going out and buying all these fucking $1 million of players and throwing them on the pitch and getting a Conte in, and because that's just not who we are. And if that's the kind of supporter you are, well, go to Manchester City or Chelsea, because they do that. Manchester United, they are spending some money as well, with Sancho and different things, but it's taken them a few years, lads, to, they've gone through, 3 managers since Alex Ferguson left, and they're still, they'll give it a good shake this season, I'd imagine, but they're not setting the town on fire, are they? So it's, I'm not overly fussed. Like, I haven't ridden this season off by any means, but I still support, I still talk on these podcasts, I still watch everything and follow the news and do everything. I support the club. And as long as we're actually showing a little bit of progression and whatnot, the old Arsenal, the old Wenger Arsenal, it's gone and done and dusted. This is our second manager. I'm not for him totally. I'm like, well, he hasn't proven himself to me. And that Chelsea game was another one that I've gone, oh, fuck, he did Arteta. Does he know what he's doing? But it is what it is. It's a young team, under 23s. We should be excited that we've got all these old clowns off the books, and we're going, fucking, let's go. Let's get behind this team. And I've seen people this week on Twitter. I had a laugh at a bloke. He burnt the Arsenal shirt and put on a fucking Southampton shirt. And I'm like, fuck me. And this bloke's tweeting there, anyone want a season ticket? And like, what the fuck? Like, are you actually a supporter, or are you just a fucking wanker? Because
there's a lot of people that do things for likes and clicks. Try and get that free season ticket off and see how quick it comes, because it won't.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. Like, and I don't understand it. Like, what do you want from the team? Like, you've said for years, we've got Mustafi, Kolasinac, we've got who else was there? These old guys who were paying shitloads of money. Ozil was all, we wanted him. Sanchez, These old players that cost us a shitload of money in wages, and from what I'm seeing is they're going off the books, and these younger players are coming in lower wages. We're managing the finances better. We've spent 25 million pounds or something we're up to now. Like, we've spent money in the transfer window, but you still want Kroenke out because he's given us no money. And there's just so many holes in people's arguments. I honestly don't know what people want. Like, what do you want? I'm so confused.
Yeah, I mean, look, there is a lot of holes in a lot of people's arguments, but there is also some very valid arguments. And one of the main things you mentioned the word a few times, is you basically want improvement. You want us to push on, and I don't think we're going to do that this year. Even though we only finished 8th, I think maybe 6th to 8th is probably our ceiling. It's probably the best we can achieve, to be honest. And that might even be being a bit optimistic. As I said, I don't believe they license him to spend that money, whether it's him, Edu, or whoever signs the checks. But the Kroenkes have not licensed them to that money without the understanding that this is a project team. Because, as I said, you look at what is potentially going to be our team. At some point, Ramsdale's going to take the number 1 spot. Under 23, KT under 23, Gabriel under 23, Ben White under 23, right back TBC. We don't know who it's going to be yet. Lokonga's there for the long term. Partey is probably going to be there to give us a bit of experience. Saka, Smith Rowe, both under 23. Right wing, you go Pepe as another. He's an over 23, and at the moment we haven't got a striker, but we were looking at one. But even without that, you go Aubameyang. So that's still 8 of the players that are currently under 23 of what is going to be our long term team. And like I said, the progression that you mentioned, I don't see it this year. And look, do I think Arteta's the best manager around? No. Do I even think he's the best manager for the job? No. But I've kind of accepted that this is what the club are trying to do. And look, as I said, you could put fucking Bin Laden in charge of Arsenal and I'd support them and want them to win. I really don't get these people. And I fully understand people not liking Arteta, and I fully understand people not wanting him. I'm kind of at a place where I don't want him, but I realise I'm stuck with him and I'm going to cheer for him, whatever. So it kind of half doesn't matter, is there? But I really don't understand these people that want us to, they say they're Arsenal fans, but they want us to lose every week because it gets him gone quicker. There's absolutely, forget going, and I know I go and I buy tickets and travel and whatnot, but forget that. There is absolutely no chance I could watch us in any capacity and hope we lose. Like, seeing a player go through on goal and not wanting him to score. I don't have that in me. Like, I physically, even, there's nothing, I don't choose that. Like, do you know what I mean? I don't see Aubameyang go through 1-on-1 and make a choice I want him to score. I just want him to score because it's what I am. It's part of me. I don't understand how people can have that choice. Like, it's not a choice. It absolutely is not a choice.
The only thing, and you just touched on it very quickly with Aubameyang, the only thing that I can see success now is, and this is, I don't even know where it stands, but Aubameyang signed a new contract on the back of there's going to be new additions and there's going to be success and da. I'm kind of wondering to myself, well, this is what they say, isn't it? So, yeah, well, you make a good point.
They didn't say, we signed you with a new contract and we're going to be shit and you're just going to be leading a bunch of kids around. Like, imagine they come out and said that.
Yeah, I know.
Like, I think people take too much notice of press conferences. Anything that comes out of press conferences, managers before games, and the managers' press conferences, what players say after games. The amount of, respect's the wrong word, but how seriously people take them, and it always baffles me because they're going to come out with company lines. They're going to say the same old shit. Like, it's at the point I don't even really watch them, and then someone will send me a quote, and I'm like, there was one last week, and I can't remember what Arteta said, and people were going mad about it, and I was like, but what did you expect them to say? Like, Jordan's come out and go, we're fucking shit. I ain't got a clue what I'm doing. I'm going grey. Like, what do you actually expect? Of course,
he's not going to say that.
Every manager for the last however many years Sky have been doing interviews after game say. It's just, I don't understand. I really don't.
It is bad. But what I was going to say, that was the only kind of hole I can see in people's arguments, and that is, even if it is a hole, like the fact that Aubameyang did sign a contract on what we are led to believe that we are going back to Champions League football However, is it more the case that he got told, mate, we're going to have a young, enthusiastic under-23s team, and we want you to lead the army, brother? Like, either way, he's like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense. Brian, he says he's up for a rebuild and being patient, but is Arteta really the right coach regarding tactics? And I totally agree with you, Brian. For me, I haven't seen it. Like, I kind of get maybe he's a good man manager and maybe he's good at getting the best out of young players. I don't know. Is there another guy there doing the tactics? You know, is it actually Arteta?
Arteta's a coach, right? In terms of coaching players, I completely agree with what Brian said. They're definitely his. I'm not going to put a name on it because I can't think of anyone off the top of my head that will bring young players through while being super tactically astute, and also let them play let them play the style you want them to when they are potentially going to be good. Because there's no point getting I know this isn't an option, but there's no point, for example, getting a Mourinho who's going to stifle these young players and basically get them to park the bus and hit teams on the break. And then suddenly when they're older and ready and at their peak, you can't just go, bam, let's go and play free-flowing football now. It doesn't work like that. So there is definitely better out there than Arteta, and tactically there's fucking millions of them. Who better that would tactically do it and bring through the kids? I think the only one I could possibly, I mean, I didn't even think of him. Addy just mentioned him. Ten Hag is probably as good a shout as any for that. Like, Conte is definitely not that. Conte is the best manager available. I don't think he'd come to Arsenal regardless, but he's the best manager available at the moment. But I think for what we need, who's available or who is gettable, I think probably Ten Hag would be the best bet, but I don't see it happening. I mean, I don't, as I said a million times, I don't see them getting rid of Arteta unless things turn really, really bad. Like, not, and I'm not talking coming 8th to 10th bad. I'm talking like, shit, we might get relegated bad.
I was thinking 10, 11, 12 maybe losses in a row, and pressure's on. You're coming into Christmas. You Poms are fucking down there with your banners, you know, Arteta out and whatnot. And I'm thinking to myself, maybe at that point, because everything I'm reading at the moment, right, and I've been reading a little bit about obviously what everyone else is reading, but like you're seeing accounts pop up with the Cronkies are in town and they're working behind the backgrounds on different things and they're doing this and that, and they're obviously protecting their investment. To what strength I don't know, but I just don't know what's going on. I feel as though I want to just ring them up and say, "Hey, what's going on, lads?" But
don't we all?
You know, like, we're only just piecing together media, tweets, piece everything together to go, "Oh, this is what must be happening." Is it true? Who fucking knows? Who knows? But they don't give, you know what? You know, we've spent money in the window. We've spent good money in the window. Like, okay, we overpaid for Ben White, Odegaard. Like, probably not the signing I would have made.
Signing I forgot when I was talking about the under 23s. Odegaard.
Yeah, Odegaard.
Someone. Fuck's sake.
But you know, we've spent money. So is it money that we all?
It's not for now.
Yeah, it's not for now. It's not for now.
And again, like, even if you look at other players who've been linked with, very loosely Calvert-Lewin, I don't believe it, but I wish
I'd love him.
Yeah, so would I. But then, like, Abraham, who we're obviously strongly linked with, again, the same sort of profile, young, probably not at his best now, but 2 or 3 years could be great, or not great, but could be very good. Like, all of that. I mean, what's the 2 Barcelona right backs are both young. The American get Dest and Emerson. Everyone we've been linked with, barring maybe, I'm not sure how old Locatelli is, but I know he's still young and he will be worth more in 3 years than he is now if things go to plan. Every single player we've been linked with is like that. So I think, obviously, I haven't been told that this team's being built for 2 years, and no one's been told that. But I think if you look at what's happening, I think it's fucking blindingly obvious.
Well, let's the other toss of the coin though, Tony. Sorry, Addy, I'll let you have a chance in a second, buddy. I was just thinking, are we doing what Dortmund do? Buy these players young, become superstars, and flog them off for 100 million? Like, that is Could
Potentially,
be like,
but then that also, like, if you class top four as success, which I think pretty much every Arsenal fan would at the moment, they will come hand in hand at some point. Dortmund aren't doing it while sitting 14th.
yeah.
You don't, if the players are that good and worth that much money. So say the players we signed, that Ben White's probably never going to be worth more than what we paid for him. But someone like Lokonga, Saka's going to be worth a fortune. Smith Rowe is going to be worth a fortune. Martinelli potentially. Odegaard, if he reaches his ceiling, which I don't think he will, but if he does, he'll be worth a fortune. Pretty much all of them. KT, we could sell for more than what we paid for him. Like, so you're looking at, if all of them reach their potential and become worth a lot of money, then we'll be a top four club anyway, because they wouldn't, if they're worth a lot, they're not going to be worth a lot while we're sitting in 6th to 16th. One of them might, not all of them.
True. Not all of them. Yeah. Addy, your thoughts on everything, buddy?
The only thing I would say is, obviously, I agree that we've got quite a lot of young players that obviously we're looking towards the future for. But then, if we are struggling now, what is to say that they actually push on and actually reach the potential they get? And for me, I'm worried about your Sakas, your Martinelli, your Odegaard as well, your Tierneys, in the sense that if they get disheartened and think that what is the point, not even what is the point of being there, or what are we actually trying to achieve at this club, if it's not a thing where we're actually trying to push to win trophies, what's to say that Saka says, you know what, I'm just going to run down my contract and move to a bigger club?
That's why they've signed him up now, isn't it?
They've signed big contracts.
Become disheartened in a year or two, then we still get top value for them. That's why they've done it. Whoever's doing the business is not stupid.
I'll say one thing to you, Addy.
I agree with you in the sense that obviously, we've offered them big contracts, but then imagine now. So and they're all young, but imagine if they get to that 26, 27, and they're still not hitting that peak, but they're still good players. But then the team hasn't improved around them, and that's my thing. Like, cool, it's good signing all these young players, but you still need that experience. You still need that know-how around the squad,
100%.
that winning mentality in the squad to actually push these players on. But we don't have that, and that's what I was saying. I'm happy we signed Odegaard, because in the sense that a lot of people have put high hopes and high expectations on the likes of Saka, on ESR. Like, these guys, they're young, but we can't expect them to be doing wonders every single week. Because again, they're actually not still. Well, Saka maybe a little bit established, but Smith Rowe's not fully established yet.
Hang on for a minute. Yeah, I get where you're coming from, but these guys aren't playing park football down the road. They're, Real Madrid signed this kid. Like, he, as far as I'm concerned, he's a Odegaard. I want to be seeing some greatness from him.
Real Madrid signed Gravesen. Real Madrid signed so many players.
Yeah, but they're not.
The real players stay at Real Madrid.
Yeah, the ones
the
who
big
come
ones
through,
stay at Real Madrid.
Ozil.
They had to sell Ozil to fund their Gareth Bale. Only your big players stay at Real Madrid. So Real Madrid signed so many players. Similar to Barcelona, they signed so many players. But unless you're a out and out elite star, you're just part of the parcel. They had Coutinho for one season, 2 seasons, then they bin them off. But then the thing is, cool, Odegaard is here, but is Odegaard going to step up and push on? Like, he had a good loan. Like, he had a good loan spell at Real Sociedad under Roma, but then Roma just still didn't want him within the squad. Maybe it was a Zidane problem, but Ancelotti's gone there now, and maybe he's not part of his plans. But then obviously
And
he's coming out,
Ancelotti
and I think
hated him. Ancelotti hated him. Look, I'm not trying to defend him because, as I said, I don't rate him anyway. But Ancelotti hated him the first time because they signed him as this 15-year-old superstar, and the board were trying to tell him they had to play him or like give him minutes, get him in around the first team squad, and he obviously wasn't ready. He's arguably not ready now to be part of a Real Madrid squad, so he definitely weren't 8 years ago. But because the board were making him, Ancelotti made it like a personal problem. Like he took it out on Odegaard because obviously he couldn't take it out on his bosses, especially when they're like fucking winning Champions Leagues and stuff. And the board are telling you this kid has to be involved. It was like, what?
Well, he shows he's definitely got potential. Like
His ceiling is ridiculous. Even
Yeah,
as someone that does not rate him, I'm not stupid enough to say his ceiling is insane and he could be incredible.
Hmm.
I just wanted to go back to the point Addy was making about the players basically being demotivated and whatnot. I think one of the massive things that Arteta has on his side is the players all do seem to love him. And I know it doesn't always seem like that on the pitch, but when the PR we hear, and I know there is the argument, it is just PR when the players are coming out and saying he's amazing and whatnot. I get the sense it's not, and I get the sense that players do really like him. And also the Edus, the Vinays, and now the Kroenke, or Josh has got an office at Colney. They see this on a day-to-day. So if it was just PR, they wouldn't be buying into it, and they seem to be. I also think that Mertesacker's doing an unbelievable job with the academy, and the players they're hoping to bring through from there will add to this squad. So I'm not going to say I've seen a lot of him, but well, not any of these really, but Amari Hutchinson seems to be very highly rated. The kid we signed from Fulham who scored the other day seems to be very highly rated. Kiddo seems to be ridiculously highly rated. So you go, and obviously there's like your Azizes that we all know about. But if these guys are as good as what they say, then and they become when your Sakas and Smith Rowes are sort of more established. And I agree with Addy. I think Saka, I'd probably say he is. I wouldn't say ESR is yet. I wouldn't say many of the others are yet, really. But when they become established and you just kind of know they're in the team sheet, then these guys are backing them up, and that's sort of how it goes.
Yeah, sorry. Fuck. Where am I going? Anyway, Addy, anything else to add?
No, that's well on team wise. I think you still need key players to be around these these young players.
I don't think anyone would disagree with that, or I'd hope they wouldn't.
Like obviously you got your parties there. Obviously you got your Lacazettes and your Aubameyangs, but obviously reading reports you're trying to get rid of Lacazette and Aubameyang.
Well, I mean, they're not Aubameyang, but Lacazette's gone next. If you don't go this summer, he's gone next summer anyway. So
he's gone next summer anyway. But then again, now I do think we need a leader in defence. But again, I just feel we're too young with a lack of experience and know-how and winning mentality. So, and again now, the squad, and again I have to say it's Arteta's squad. For me, it's as I said earlier, it's weaker, much weaker than last year.
I don't think it's weaker than last year. I'd struggle to make an argument it's any better, but I don't think it's weaker. But I agree with you. It's completely unbalanced in terms of experience, essentially. Like, as I said, if we all listed our strongest team now, I doubt we'd be too far apart, one or two names. But they're kind of hoping KT can be a bit of both because he's 23, he's on the older end of our thing. He's won 1 million trophies. So they're hoping he can be part of the adult group while still being under 23. That's why they see him as a gold mine, and that's why he got the new contract, as well as his ability, obviously. But yeah, if you go, as I said, look, Ramsdale is going to be our number one keeper before long. I think we all realise that. You go KT, Gabriel, White, right back to be seen. Partey, Lokonga probably. Say you go Aubameyang up front and Pepe on the right wing. They're your only older players, and you wouldn't say Pepe's the experienced, drag you through a game kind of player. there's an argument Aubameyang can. I know fans are a bit off him at the moment because he ain't scored for a while, but there's an argument he can be that type of player because he has been there and done it. And Partey's definitely that type of player. But having 2 out of your starting 11 is and KT on the brink is probably, well, it isn't enough. Anyone else going to talk, or shall I just carry on?
I thought Tez was going to come in. But yeah, no, as I said.
Oh, he's gone.
Oh, is he gone? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he'll be back. Yeah, no, but I agree. As I said, two out of the 11 is nowhere near enough. As I said, even if you bring KT in as the third, it's still, you look at most teams, like even the United team, the class of 92, they say you don't win stuff with kids, but they did have them, whatever it was, 6 or 7 youngsters, but around them they had your Bruces, your Pallisters, your Roy Keanes, Mark Hugheses, your Schmeichels. Like, do you know what I mean? They had the old experienced guys as well. I don't think you're going to do too much with 9 of the 11 or even 8 of the 11 being I don't know if inexperienced is the right word, but what's the term? Wet behind the ears? Is that the term? Something like that. Do you think we'll do any more business? Ins. I forget that.
I do think, because for example, this Bellerin situation where obviously Bellerin has said that he wants to go and they're not even playing him. I do think Bellerin will go out and we will get in a right back.
Would you put a name on it?
The funny thing is, I have no clue.
Do you know what scares me? And I think, I'm not sure on you, but a lot of people like this. For me, I don't, because I don't particularly rate him. Just looking at the profile of the players we're signing, I can really see us trying to spend way too fucking much on Max Aarons.
Wait, where is he still at? Norwich?
Still at Norwich. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Like, again, and I know a lot of people like him. I'm not a fan, but you just look at the profile. English. I'm pretty sure he's still under 23. If he's not, he's 24 sort of thing. He's around that age.
Yeah.
Young, English, could be there for a long time, integrate into the team. Like, and I just think it's just not for me. But whatever. Yeah, I think we'll get a right back. I'm still holding hope of a striker, but it's waning every day. We've got, what, 7 days now? Yeah, 7 days.
But I can't see how we're going to get a striker if we don't sell
it's probably false hope, but you got hope. It's just one of them. I feel like they'll let Lacazette go because it's at the point where even if he goes for 5 million on deadline day, it's probably worth it because I think we're all accepting we're not fucking going to get Champions League anyway. So you save, I think, roughly 200k a week with wages, give or take, and you get 5 million in for him for a season where we're not really going to do much anyway. So, but then you think if he goes, Eddie will go. Then do you need someone else? Balogun's just nowhere near up to it. He has to go out on loan. He won't, but he has to. So I hold hope. I don't think it will happen, but I hold hope. There's rumours today about Elneny going as well, which I can't see because I can't see us buying a right back and a centre midfielder. And if he goes, we definitely need a centre midfielder because just on numbers, we haven't got enough.
Yeah. On numbers, we don't have enough. But then I was reading that he wants to keep Elneny, but
yeah. So I read that, but then I don't know if you've seen or how much you take any notice of it. But Bell said that AFC Bell tweeted earlier and basically said Watford haven't bid for him as the media are reporting, but Arsenal are open to letting him go if the price is right. But I think was it Fenerbahce he was on loan at, or whoever it was he was on loan at tried to get him. Besiktas, sorry, yeah, but they were coming in sort of lowball, and the report basically seemed to indicate that if people want to offer proper money, I don't know what proper money is for him, but if they want to offer proper money, he is available. Just looking at the comments, Brian Downs said, I know we're going to differ on this. Saliba, Guendouzi, Torreira, who would get into this first team?
For me, Saliba. For me, is Guendouzi a step up from Lukanga? for me, yes, but then obviously I think Sambi's ceiling is much higher than Guendouzi's. But again, I would still have Guendouzi. Me personally, I would still have Guendouzi in the team or in the squad. But obviously, Arteta has an issue. And who was the last one? Torreira. Again, he doesn't suit what Arteta wants to do. But I would still have him in the squad. That's it. What cool? If he's homesick and actually doesn't like England, then cool. I can understand that. But again, I would still have him in the squad. I can't see us. Well, if we do not sign another midfielder, we have only Partey, Sambi, Elneny, and Xhaka as centre midfielders. Then I don't even know what to say. So I'm praying that these are looking to get another midfielder.
Do you know what's mad? I said last week on here, I think it was, or 2 weeks ago, I don't think, again, based on nothing, just my opinion, I don't think we'll sign a midfielder. And someone in the comments, and I'm not saying they were wrong or stupid or whatever, but acted like I'd said I'd got 8 heads. Like, but I just can't see it. Like, I hope I'm wrong. I don't want to sit here on deadline go and say I told you so, even though I will. But like, I hope I'm wrong. I really can't see it. Just on my answers quickly, the Saliba thing is just so baffling, and I'm not going to pretend I've seen a lot of in place. I'm not even going on ability, but when you're trying to build, as I said, an under-23 squad to go forward, blah blah blah, it just seems nonsensical to not have him there. He's not helped
all of these matches. I've watched all of these matches.
Am I back now, boys?
No, I'm not saying he's not good. I'm just saying, from my opinion, I'm not going to base it on his football because I've not seen a mass amount. He wasn't brilliant for our under-23s. That's for sure. He didn't look stand out in the under-23s, to be honest. But I don't know if he thought he was below himself because he was basically a centre-back that was trying to play number 10 at times. But just not having him around the squad is baffling. But he's not helped himself. Like, his agent, and I know this for sure because one of my mates knows his agent very well because he's connected with Marseille. His agent was, even before, like, there was that rumours they'd had that meeting with Arsenal and they'd decided to let him go. His agent was offering him out everywhere before that. Before that, the meeting had already happened. There was already offers on the table because his agent was telling everyone he was available. Not staying in England is absolutely fucking baffling. I don't know why the club sanctioned it. I know they wanted to grant him his wishes and whatnot, but for me, that's nonsense. And I know someone's going to bring up his parents, but for me, unfortunately, I've luckily, touch wood, not been through that. But for me, if he wants to be a footballer in this country, they should have made him stay in this country. There was offers from England. So that's confusing. Guendouzi, I think Sambi's better, and I think I wouldn't have Guendouzi, to be honest. But Torreira, I would have in the squad, but he's got his own issues that he doesn't want to be here, so then you've got to get rid of him. Guendouzi, I wouldn't have, and Saliba, for me, it's baffling. He's not around the squad. Brian has a sad emoji face.
Can anyone hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, I was having mic issues, boys. So sorry about that. I am back. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you could hear me or not. Okay.
Yeah.
Go on.
I'm
Tony.
just gonna. Well, yeah. There's. I think it's a 2-part question, and then it's the last ones on this at the moment. Anyways, Brian again says, great podcast, good inform and constructive talk, makes a change from the whinging, and then straight away after he said, where's Darren and the crystal ball? I'm not sure if them two are connected, and I'm going to leave it to everyone else to decide because I could get in trouble if I make a decision on that one.
Look, poor old Darren. I don't know where he is. I haven't seen Darren for a while. He went over to what's that? Max's show. Basically, I was in a point where he's a good bloke. Don't get me wrong. I was at a point last year where I wasn't in a good space mentally and health wise. So I was like, oh, fuck. They kept fucking up the show or something couldn't get on, and I was never online with them or something. So I just said, look, just put it on Max's channel. I couldn't be fucked. So they went there, and then I haven't even seen Max or the Arse brothers. He had a baby, lockdown in Melbourne. He was trying to get his bar up and running, and I haven't heard from them boys for a long time. Like I said, there was no no burnt bridges or anything. It was just at the time, yeah. Where is the crystal ball though, Tony? Because I'd love to know where that is.
I never had it. Otherwise, I'd be very rich.
Fuck that always comes up, that doesn't it?
Always.
Just quick, I don't know where you boys are up to because I missed about 5 minutes of your chat.
We've done all the questions on the thing.
Okay, cool, no worries. I'm ready, just about ready to wrap up anyway. I just want to. I'm bringing in a new segment, or not really a segment, but it's more of a tweet of the day or tweet of the week or something along them lines. And I retweeted it just to remind myself. And there's a bloke, I can't think of his name because I had to shut on my computer then, but I got it up on, I retweeted him. He is blowing up like no tomorrow in the car.
This knobhead, I've been sent it on about 57 group chats. I can't even bring myself to press play.
I'm all for a guy having a rant, right? I'm all for it. Like, we have a discussion here. We sometimes get a bit heated and things at times. When it's a debate back and forth, like a tennis match or something. But this bloke, I have no idea what he's actually on about. And I don't know if you can hear him, but that is
one of. Yeah, we don't need to.
I'm trying to pause it. But that there for me, mate. That's the tweet of the day because I just the poor bastard. I almost feel sorry for him. He's going to pop something. He just needs to take a chill pill and relax a little bit.
I saw someone quote tweet it with, and they just said acting, not reacting, and I think that's probably about
that sums it up.
As best as you can put it. I think.
Yeah.
And look, Arsenal fan get blamed for a hell of a lot, and I'm not particularly blaming them for this. I think I've said it before, but they've showed that over-the-top reactions have made people famous and made people a hell of a lot of money. Is that their fault? No, it's not their fault. But now people are using that mold, and you get idiots in their van or in their car and whatever, and their fake outrage. As I said, I've seen it a million times at games where you're standing next to someone for the game, and they'll be cool, casual. Like, it's not the best performance today. Like normal conversation like we're having. And then you'll get home that night and see on Twitter them going fucking ballistic, telling them how upset they was and they couldn't feed their kids because they were crying so much and they threw their wallet at the manager and lost it. And you're like, do you know when you see it and you're like, you lying cunt, I'm standing next to you. Like, but as I said, I'm not blaming Arsenal Fan TV because they stand there with a camera and you can make as bigger idiot of yourself as you want. And if people like it, they'll watch it and money's made. But because so many people have got successful via that method, not just Arsenal, there's obviously fan TVs of, the fact that I've heard of Mark Goldbridge is insane because he's just some weirdo United fan.
But he comes up with some good one-liners. Like,
I don't know nothing about him, but I'm just saying it's the whole thing that you can fake outrage essentially, and it for some people it works, not for everyone. So now you're getting loads of people that try it. And look, this guy, the one you're talking about, has gone viral. As I said, I've been sent it in a million group chats. Yeah. So has he achieved his goal? So he's got a bit more famous. So next time when he does one, he'll get a few more viewers and a few more, and then eventually, if he's successful at what he's trying to do, he'll start making money from it and maybe make a wage from it and maybe be able to quit his job. And then it completely changes.
Do we get him on the show? Do I reach out to him?
Absolutely not.
Oh, you don't want to be that kind of show, Tony.
Go on, read the question first.
Yeah, sorry, I was just reading Tash's comment before we moved on. He says, could someone Photoshop Tony ranting from last week in his car? In a car. I'm all over that.
I would really like to know what I was saying. But yeah, I was going to say is I do my ranting in the ground, not silently, but to no one, and I don't care if anyone's. I don't like. Obviously, I didn't know the camera was on me. It turned to the crowd. Like, I don't do stuff for views. It's just what I was feeling in that moment, and it could have come to me 5 minutes later, and I was having a laugh and a joke about the food at Brentford, which was an absolute joke, by the way. Like, do you know what I mean? And it's a difference between acting and reacting, as the quote tweet said that someone posted. And but being fake can make you a lot of money, and not just in football. There's people in life that have made fortunes from being fake. Like, I mean, you're down there, so there's names I could say that wouldn't mean anything to you that have made fortunes from being extremely fake. So that's life, and I don't know if I wish good luck to the geezer, because I don't want to see him on my timeline all the time. I don't wish him bad, but if I could say good luck to him, but I hope I never hear his voice again, then that.
Where's Golson fan gone? My
He tweeted the other day.
Contributor. Yeah, I haven't seen him for a while.
He tweeted something the other day.
Golson fan.
It's the Your Burner account.
Yep. I was thinking it's a Golson fan. That's about it, boys. I'm going to give a shout out to. I troll through the stats as well. Who listens to the podcast, who's downloading this, and there's 2,000 of you out there that listen to this each week. So thank you guys for your support, and to all you patrons who make this show possible and let us do this live stuff too, because that costs money. Old pensioner like me, yeah, I struggle. So, would you believe we have a listener in South Korea and Pakistan? One bloke every fucking week listens, or could be a female. One somebody listens. Could be a fucking, I don't know, transvestite or a bloody whatever. But they listen.
Stop before you start. Just say we have a listener.
We have a listener. We have a listener down there every over there, I should say, every week. So shout out to whoever you are. I see you listening every week. South Korea and Pakistan, thank you for your support. That's about it from us, guys. I don't think we'll touch on the West Brom game, even though Addy seems to think
no one cares.
That's the important game. Addy in Addy's mind. He's like, we can win. We'll see how we go. We might pop back during the week for a preview. Usually, if I can get somebody of interest, I'll start doing a bit of a preview stuff. Who's up? City. Yeah, struggled to find a City fan.
Yeah, they don't have fans.
No, I really struggle to find
unless you can get Oasis on, which you can't. Then that's their fan base done. Oasis.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to think who's over here. Oh, no.
There can't be a single Australian City fan. Like, it should be illegal.
There'd have to be one, mate. There'd have to be one. One Arsenal fan who's decided I'm going to City. There's always
one. They're not fans. They don't count. No, they don't count.
There you go, boys. Thanks again, and thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you for downloading. You can throw all your hate at Tony at the Clock and Talk. You get me a goon to Tez. Where are you now, Addy? What's your at Addy Ads still?
Yeah, at Addy Ads, yeah.
At Addy Ads. And thanks, boys. See you next week.
Cheers.
Cheers.